No. You can speak in here, and they can see in my chair. They're not gonna see. There's a microphone.
Oh, there wasn't any one.
I
haven't seen you in a long time. I am. Oh, much better.
I'd like to call to order the study session of the City Council, the City of New Orleans, Colorado, March 4th, 2024. We have 4 action items, or consideration items on our agenda. Item number 1 is an amendment to the cooperation agreement with the City of New Orleans. And the Weaver Urban Renewal Authority for the Walmart redevelopment. Item number 2 is the final design for REAP 38. Item number 3 is agreement with Jefferson School District for development agreement 38. And item number 4 is the resolution of opposition House Bill 24 1152 review policy provisions. We will start our study session with public comment on agenda items who have no signed up to speak in the hall or online. So we will conclude our agenda and go to item number 1. And Mr. Goff, I'll see if you have a staff presentation on this item.
We do, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will give a brief summary and then I'll turn it over to Bill Tanner this year with U.S. Retail Partners. They're the owner of that village. Of course, I know Andrew or Will Corey, Executive Director. Steve will be ready for questions that you may have. So I'll go ahead and get started. And I'll turn over to Will. He's got a presentation. So Walmart's, y'all remember Walmart? It's been so long. Pre-COVID, I think the crowd are all about that, right? Walmart left us in 2017, quickly, very last minute, right? Well, this is a surprise to both of us. So they shut down in 2017. So to attract new quality national retail tenants, U.S. Retail Partners, the developer and owner of the shopping center asked the city and renewal leaders to participate in an agreement to share back a portion of the future tax, property and sales tax on future redevelopment of the Walmart site from the redevelopment to help redevelop the site. Renewal waivers did enter into redevelopment agreements with the developer in March of 2019 to reimburse them up to $8.4 million in both property tax and sales tax. Most of that is property tax. That would help cover a lot of the cost of public improvements required for the redevelopment. We did analyze the project using an outside source to help us analyze this project. It did identify about $10.7 million in public improvements for this project. Those improvements were summarized in your staff memo. In May of 2019, City Council approved a cooperation agreement with Weaver authorizing the city to share 1 cent, which is 3.5 cents, from this project for a period of 5 years. Up to a maximum of just over $2 million. This cooperation agreement will expire this year. So moving forward another year or two, COVID hit us right when the stores opened. I think they opened the next month. So very unanticipated, as you can imagine, COVID crisis and other economic factors that followed. The actual sales and property tax increments had been significantly less than we modeled. So based on the terms of the original agreement, the developer will likely be reimbursed only $4.2 million rather than anticipated $8.4 million. So the developer is asking for amendments to the redevelopment agreement and the cooperation agreement to extend the sharing of the sales tax portion for another 10 years, up to the original maximum still, which is over 2 million, whichever occurs first. This will potentially increase the reimbursement to 5.2 million, still well short of what was originally anticipated. So now I'll turn it over again to Will with U.S. Retail Partners. He'll provide an update on the investments that have been made at the Village Shopping Center and then be available for questions. Will?
Thank you, Judge. Thank you all for having me this evening. I thought first what I'd like to do, because 5 years ago, some of you may not have been here, it's just a little bit of an update and about our company. U.S. Retail Partners is a partnership that we have. We have single purpose entities that own certain shopping centers, but it's a wholly owned subsidiary of Regency Centers Corporation, which is who I work for in Denver. My office is in the tech center. We're a public company traded on NASDAQ. We went public in 1994. And today, we own almost 500 shopping center properties across the country. We are 93% retail shopping centers. That many properties across the country, maybe markets. We do have some office, some residential, but very, very little. Our core business is grocery and retail centers. And I'm really proud of the company that I work for. When I was here 5 years ago, we were probably only 420 shopping centers. So we have a long, patient strategy. Our investors, if we go buy our stock on the NASDAQ Stock Exchange, but most of our investors are big pension funds, state of California teacher pensions, big investors in our stock. So just to indicate kind of the conservative nature of who's interested in our company and our model. We have over 20 offices across the country. I run our Denver office in the Rocky Mountain region, which is about 20 properties, about 2 million square feet here in Colorado. And I have a team of property managers and leasing agents here locally. A little bit about our just some key tenets to who we are as a company. Again, this is grown and changed over the years. We have a model of long-term value creation, a great corporate culture, and a good brand and reputation as a shopping center owner and developer across the country. We really, truly believe and speak to being partners with communities that we're in and really want to center and operate in. I work with some great people. We have a great internal culture. We are highly ethical, and we have invested a lot recently in DEI and ESG initiatives in the company. We've been voted one of the top 5 companies in the country for corporate responsibility. It's something we really believe in, really proud of. So it just so happens, we switch to the next year. So these are, I'm not going to read them all, but again, a little bit more detail on who we are in our portfolio. 80% of our shopping centers are grocery anchored neighborhood community centers. I like to say we're mostly in tier 1 markets across the country. We usually have the number 1 or 2 grocer as a key tenant. So for example, we're probably Whole Foods, biggest landlord, Publix, and Kroger. We're right up there with the top landlords across the country. So we have great relationships and partnerships with those companies. Again, best in class operating portfolio platform. We have offices all over the country, so while we are very public, we do really operate in each one of these regions with a local team of people who know the communities that we're in. And I hear a lot, and I can see that it's a lot. Value creation. We develop ground-up centers. We buy shopping centers from other owners. We sell centers that don't meet our criteria. And we renovate and redevelop. just so happens the history of Apple, we did not go to the beginning, over 50 years ago. We acquired it in 2005 for the partnership agreement, and we've done a substantial amount of renovation to the property over the years. And then the last one I wrote about our balance sheet, with all the rising interest rates and the economic news, we used long-term, low leverage corporate bonds. They were over $1 billion line of credit, that we're able to draw on. When we acquired, we just merged, acquired 80 property portfolio in the Northeast, about $1.5 billion, and we didn't have to use any cash, it was all stock deal. Very similar, like-minded company. Me here locally, when I wanted to invest and redevelop Apple, we probably spent $35 million worth of taking 3 different pages. We never got a loan to do that. We had the capacity internally because of our strong balance sheet and our low leverage investment capital. As such, we're very disciplined with our returns for our shareholders and our strategy. So, what I wanted to go into historically was the reason why we came originally and made the request in 2019 were the returns for the investment in Walmart were not returns we would have invested that money other than participation in health through the urban renewal district insurance and sales tax. Walmart left a void for the city and their sales tax. We had some good prospects interested in building, but it was a 50-year-old building with a lot of infrastructure deficiencies. So we were extremely pleased with that result, getting that original agreement done. And I believe a lot of good things even since that we had committed to at that time, which we look forward on, which I wanted to go through on this slide. So at that time, Walmart had just left units 180, 160, 140, 120, 100, and that was the entire Walmart building. And today we've got Home Goods, Sierra Trading Post, Ulta Cosmetic, Eyeglass World, and a local small business that runs an internet business who's using Unit 110 for their distribution and storage for that. So that's a really good story. Small business that was bursting at the seams looking out of their house here locally, some warehouse space. So we invested in that building, redid the site work in the parking lot in front of that building, and we had created the RTD lease had expired. They had a transfer station where Chick-fil-A is. We negotiated a lease with Chick-fil-A. That was delayed 2.5 years due to COVID. And I think at the time we did the original agreement in 2019, we were already talking about Chick-fil-A, and it wasn't until this year that they actually opened. So that was also one piece that we thought the revenue stream was going to come in earlier, and they put everything on hold when COVID hit. So thankfully, we were able to restructure the deal and keep it going and actually get it done. We also did a ground lease with Valvoline down on the other end. That was a little First Bank parcel we bought. Applejack remodeled, and we restructured the lease for 15 years. And it looks beautiful, we're really happy about that. And then most recently, we executed a lease with First Watch, with former Chili's building. So a lot's gone on. If you're out there today, the only piece we don't own is labeled NAP2. That's actually its own parcel. And 37, 38, and 39 are the oldest building left on the site, which actually right now I'm contemplating demolishing that building and building the last modern retail building. So we're about done. Five Below and Unit 29 started, we just signed that lease and the construction in place. So as you can see, over a 10-year period, Applewood, my 20 centers in my portfolio used to be probably number 4 or 5. Today, I would tell you it's the best center in my portfolio and getting even better. So that's a lot of that is to the partnership we have in the agreement with the city. Here are just some renderings. I probably should put these last, but you guys have seen it, I'm sure. That was rendering before we built it. And it came out really nice. And then there's the new Bounty, Chick-fil-A, Applejack, and First Watch. So here's, I won't read every single one of these also, but this is a timeline. It wasn't until I started writing the timeline a few weeks ago that I actually sunk in how much we've actually done property over the last 10 years. 2013 to 17, we did not own several of the parcels that comprise the shopping center today. There was an old gas station and retail building in the corner that actually the Metro District created by Joel was actually owned. And we acquired that from them. We then remediated that site and did the Starbucks lease. The area where the King Soopers Fuel Center is, there's a parking lot owned by Wells Fargo Bank. And we bought that parcel, knocked down an old obsolete building, solved a major detention and drainage problem at the site of the pond. And then we did the groundwork for the King Soopers Fuel Center. Where Housing in Colorado is, that's a brand new building. We didn't own that parcel either. Wells Fargo back into that one. We acquired that, to go to Housing in Colorado. And then, that's about it for the land we didn't own. Shortly thereafter, during that time period, Walmart sales kept declining. And finally made a decision to close the store. And part of the reason was that the King Soopers lease, they had a very strong store, restricted the ability for Walmart to sell groceries and compete with them in the same shopping center. And so Walmart never invested in the store. So they kind of let it decline, and customers stopped going, and eventually they just closed it. Actually, when we anticipated maybe someday that'll happen, but it happened pretty quickly. And we quickly scrambled to see what type of tenants we might be able to attract. And I was in a lot of discussions with the city. TJ Maxx operates TJ Maxx stores, Home Goods, Sierra Trading Post, and Marshall is a great credit and great retailer across the country. We have a lot of stores with them. They expressed immediate interest. Hobby Lobby did as well, and then we were able to attract Ulta, which brings a really great customer to the center. And then finally, we did Eyeglass World in that last space. So at that time, I remember driving when Walmart was vacant with my CEO. And said, well, how much is this going to cost? Get a tenant question. And then they said, I don't know, $18 million. My private manager was in the car, and he said, no, well, it's going to be 12 or 14. It ended up being $19.6 million. And that was several years ago. Inflation and costs of the investments. So thank God, thank you very much for helping us make the decision to invest in retailers. But as Patrick mentioned, very quickly after we had the first time to open the building, the pandemic hit, and anything that wasn't necessary retail was shut down. So the sales tax, as you can imagine, the sales tax-based model was severely impacted. And it really wasn't until last year that we started seeing the type of revenue on the sales tax side that we expected to be really meaningful. During that time period, again, I mentioned Applejack, Chick-fil-A, they're all open now. And then here we are in 2024, with really set to expire. So, why would you guys give us an extension? I've got a few thoughts on this. Number one, partnership between this city and the urban renewal has been extremely good, candid, open. I believe we've lived up to our end of the bargain. I believe you guys have as well. We did a year, 10 years later, still talking to you guys about how great that is, and also where we can take it in the future. I think it's huge problems. Do you guys have to extend it? No. You know, I believe it's a win-win. I believe that the sales tax projections probably ultimately long-term will exceed what we ever expected at the center. It just so happens they haven't hit it. And if we ever do hit the original projections, you know, the request would be that it would stop at that. So projections are projections. You know, I talked to Patrick about if we got an extension, how many more years to get to the original number we thought, maybe 7 or 8 years. But that seems like it's good. So if we get another downturn, the sales take off. If you pay back sooner or later. Third item, we're a long-term holder, we're not a merchant holder. We great assets like this, we own long-term. We will be talking to my company about this center for a long time. We're not going to sell next week, we're going to sell it in 5 years. This is a core asset for our company. And as long as it continues to perform and we continue to bring great retail to it, it's going to be a core asset for the company. I did want to touch on this, and I'm really not, I wasn't in the room, but I know Jefferson County, the property tax increment portion of the incentive, we are back on track with our projection and our model, but there was a couple of years where Jefferson County was not all that cooperative in helping us determine the increment. Steve and I spent a lot of time working on that program, but we did also lose some time on the model. Because of that. And then, I guess the last one I have is just the 17. So, yeah, I didn't want to go into too much detail, but I can certainly answer historical, detailed questions. Anything you have, really proud of center and really proud to be here tonight.
Okay, let's go to questions, Councilor Hockey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't necessarily have any questions. I'm also on the renewal authority board. So I know about this project pretty well and was on there when we approved this. I think one of the things that I just wanted to mention is when we look at these types of agreements, yes, you know, the amount of years it is, we consider that, but really what we're looking at is the price tag. And being that, you know, originally it was supposed to be a $2 million plus some change share back, and in the memo it projects that potentially in the next 4 years in the memo, but we're saying, you know, potentially adding 10, but that we could possibly be completed with this agreement. And so I just wanted to just kind of bring that up, that I think that the price tags typically what we look at, yes, if it was like a 25-year, we might start having our eyes at that, but you know, in my opinion, I think that it's important that we come to a consensus to support the extension on this. Without all of the development that they did up at that site, it would most definitely be provided, especially because that happened just before COVID. If that happened right after COVID, we come to 16 in the entire site. So I'm in support of this.
Thank you. Councilor Owen.
Thank you, Mayor. The one question I had was, when you, way back when check this, is the sales tax, does that now include that under that umbrella?
Yeah, at the time, we didn't, we knew Chick-fil-A was a prospect that could be the ultimate user. But we had a few different prospects and thoughts on it. And so we modeled a user generating some sales tax. And quite frankly, it just never opened and got done.
Mayor Pro Tem Stiles.
Thank you, Chair. I'm for this. I think we should absolutely, essentially honor this agreement because it was $2 million in 2017. It's just taking longer. I think we all understand why everything's taken longer over the last couple of years than it should have. I live within walking distance of this shopping center, and this is in my district. I love the investments you guys have made in the shopping center, and you kind of answered one of my questions about the Holly West building, which I think you said you're talking about. Do you know how much that's going to cost?
Right now, we've got a schematic plan for about 7,000 foot multi-tenant retail building. That could be 1 to 3 tenants. My process is earlier, over $4 million, which is pretty expensive. You kind of work backwards on real estate returns and what we're looking for. We need 45 to 50 hour triple net rents that work. We actually have interest from 2 out of 3 tenants at those levels right now. It's kind of shocking with inflation that's happening in Colorado. It's not just here, it's everywhere. I don't think these prices or taxes or rents are going down anywhere in the country. So, but we're very cautious. We're going to continue to negotiate those, look at the credit of those tenants, decide if that investment makes sense. But we would like to do that. I think it still makes sense. I think it speaks to the strength of the shopping center that we can attract that level of building.
Yeah, I've looked at spaces to rent in from shopping centers. But definitely, I do appreciate, and I think as a city, we appreciate all the investment that you guys put back into the shopping center. It shows, and it's one of our largest tax base. In fact, I think it might be the largest for the tax. So we should do this thing.
Thank you, Councilor Goldie.
I am definitely in support of this, and I have a comment and a question. You know, I was elected in the fall of 2018, and I just think about how much that corridor of Assembly has changed visually since I've been elected through investments like the shopping center and along the other side of the highway. So I really think, you know, we spend a lot of time in the garden streets and corridors, but I actually take a lot more pride in how we look from our interstate through that corridor. It's one of the most visible corridors, and I think it's really unbound. It's highly visible and it's really good exposure to traffic. And I think pretty good for it. So to that end, as you're looking at the continued investment over a long history in the site, what are the conversations around investing in institutional infrastructure? We have really learned from the Target that Arvada is one of the most used organizations in the city, and it's because people stop and because they're growing to spend some money. And I think investment in church infrastructure would really actually help support, you know, the exposure and the plans that are for people to get off the nursing. So I'm just curious what your investment strategies in church infrastructure is.
Yeah, I wish I would have had Mark Peter here. He's actually the director of our national sustainability program for the offices in my local office in Denver. So I'm fortunate to have him here locally executing that. And he's one of the number one people in the company that works on charging stations across our portfolio and solar and a lot of sustainability initiatives. We have a proposal on charging stations that I'm reviewing internally for 2 possible locations at this time. They take a lot of time to plan those based on priority and capital, but we are interested in doing that. I actually thought we have them now. So I can't tell you when, but I think it's a really good candidate, new concept, or charging networks generally, so there's interest from. We don't operate those ourselves. We do those agreements. We got a third party out there who just lease the ground. So having picked an operator, having picked a location on the side, we are studying it.
Well, that's a bad idea. It's a question. Is that something that is how we support charging infrastructure, something that we
It could, unfortunately, when we did the bond issuance, we can't issue any more debt in that plan.
Got it. But, so,
We could look at it. So, you know,
Yeah, I can see it as an eligible expense, might be. Sounds like it wasn't covered at all.
Well, and those, I don't know the current position, but those aren't generally bills allocated, those are installed capital. The users of lessee spend a lot of their capital, and I'm hearing in the $500,000 range for quite a few of those. Questions? Councilor Larson.
Thank you, Mayor. There's no doubt that Apple is economic. It will be for a long time down the road. You look at the numbers and the return back to the city, both in terms of the sales tax and just the general view of Weaver as being a place where you can go and you can shop at some very good, reputable stores. And that's being commended. I was not on the council back in 2019 when this was discussed. I'm wondering, because of the having to renew an agreement that had a timeline and the termination date was supposed to be 2024. While I understand most crystal balls that are out there don't work, and so there's no way to really anticipate things like COVID. Is there something that we could have done back then, maybe extended time or changing terms of it to avoid having to go through what we're going through right now?
Yeah, you know, I guess Will and I talk about this a lot. We use a third party, yes, firm we use it quite often to analyze deals like this. And there was a lot of back and forth on, I think, the estimates and the projections that were being used. I think Will was in such a, if you don't mind, in a hurry to get the deal done, that maybe they didn't put back enough. I think maybe in hindsight, the projections were off a little bit. But it was, I don't think that was part of the biggest issue. The biggest issue was obviously the COVID market reaction to that. But yeah, I don't know beyond that. I don't know, Will, you have any thoughts?
Yeah, it is a bit of speculation, but, you know, I think about this and how that occurred, and you guys as a city, you know, are fiduciary to your community, you have to hire a third party consultant, that consultant comes in and does a model. They call us and say, you know, what are the ranges of sales you expect? They use that as part of their data. They use their network of sales tax data on these models across the country to put together a model that ultimately come here and have to defend what they're saying to you folks. And I thought to myself, you know, at the time, the projections were stronger. You know, I've never had conversations with them. And if it goes really, really well, yeah, I can believe those projections. But you know, my company discounts those projections because we have a lot of these models across the country, and a lot of them don't pay off as quickly. And I think we did ask, you know, what's the possibility of, you know, having this for 10 years instead of 5? Because for us, it was the city, if we get the number quicker, it really ends anyway. So really much downside to the city, but I thought to myself, the consultant comes in and says it's going to project lower, and then we overperform, maybe the consultant is concerned that, you know, they underestimated, and they're concerned about your opinion of them as the, you know, expert they're looking to. So I don't know. That's speculation a little bit. Councilor Hawk.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I'd also like to just mention, we utilize that third party consultant often. I don't know that we've come across this issue very often, but again, it's modeling, it's projecting, you know, so it's really just a good guessing. It's trying to make the best guessing game. Making amendments though to agreements is also not out of, like, it's not out of bounds. You know, it's something that we've done in the past, it's, perfectly, you know, legal, and it's really part of doing business with urban renewal employees.
I've got a couple of questions, none of them about this deal, but since we have a retail expert in the house, you know, with the pandemic and the rise of online retailing, what are your thoughts on brick and mortar retail going forward?
Love talking about this stuff. It's the business we're in, we sit around our office doing this all the time. You know, a couple thoughts on that. I tell the story a lot. Forgive me if I told you here, but first I started in this business back in the late 90s, and the first leases we did, retail leases after the grocery lease, when we were building a shopping center. Radio Shack, Blockbuster, and Hallmark. Yeah, there aren't any of them left anymore. But here we are, fast forward 20-some years, and those spaces are filled with better credit tenants, better, we evolve with the market. And so that's the first thing I would tell you is we've been able to re-merchandise great centers. Great real estate is great real estate. And businesses that are affected negatively by the internet are thriving. We also started internally a new category of merchandising. We actually call, there's a segment of our shopping centers that we call healthy living. And we created that definition in the last 10 years because we started seeing, I think the percentage was 14%, projected to go like 20% of our portfolio, we will be able to define as healthy living centers. And that definition is maybe still another one or two grocers in the market, but also health and wellness tenants and medical tenants. And I kind of lump a lot together, massage, dental, chiropractic, fitness, drugstores, and actual medical tenants, doctors, offices, and specialties, which again, here in Beaver Hospital, you know, they don't have enough space for the ancillary specialties. You know, we've been in some discussions, and there are some that work really well in retail centers, there's some that, you know, aren't as good, but I don't know if dialysis center fits into a retail center, but there are specialties that can work really well in merchandising in the center. So we, short answer is we continue to evolve and healthier than ever. You know, my company's stronger than ever. So thank you for the observation. That helps. Mayor Pro Tem Sykes.
I was just gonna ask for a consensus that we move forward with the recommendation, and, well, let's move forward with the recommendation.
Just like to do that myself. Okay. Just like we've got this moves forward. Thank you. So thank you very much for coming in. Good luck. Good luck. Very, very much. You're welcome. Okay, we're gonna move to our agenda item 2, this is the final design for Union 38.
Oh, should we correct?
No, she's here.
All right, ready, Mayor? Great, thank you very much. Moving on to our next item, final design agreement 38. We have Mark Taylor from Architect Group here. He's been our architect, we've seen him a few times. Sam Miller in the back, he's an architect with the Jacksonville School District. He's been working on this quite some last several months also. I want to give a quick brief introduction to this, and I'll turn it over to Mark. He's got a great presentation and some impact as well. For this one, I'm going to go back even a little bit further. 2005, That's when the inception of the green project really started, if you really look back. In 2005, they did a revitalization strategy in this out of that report. The report concluded research is a community that lacks a defined center. The NRS at that time also emphasized the need for purely pedestrian-oriented destinations. That vision was reinforced in the 2009 Vision of the Village Comprehensive Plan, the 38th Avenue Corridor Plan that was adopted in 2011, and the 2019 update to NRS. Very initial concept plans for the green were created as part of the 38th Avenue Corridor Plan. Then finally, in City Council's 2018-2019 strategic plan, one of the top 5 priorities was to finalize the design for the 38th Avenue streetscape. This is not exactly that, but I think it goes a long ways to meet that priority. In 2017, y'all remember the big hailstorm. Wiped out the city for the most part. Really caused significant damage to pretty much the majority of every structure in the city. Everybody got a new roof, which made that increased some revenues in the city. Between 2017 and 2018, building permit and use tax revenue did increase substantially at approximately about 900,000 more than we saw on a normal basis. Former council members at the time, Fitzgerald, Pond, and Davis, requested this study session to discuss reinvesting those funds into an amenity that the entire community could enjoy. So consensus was reached in 2018 by council to move forward with a community engagement and design process for the green. We've now reached final design phase and are scheduled to start construction on the first phase of the school parking lot on June 1st. With that, I have much more, but I'm going to get it over to Mark, and he will review with you the design process since thinking.
Yeah. Thanks for having me again. Good to see you all. So, yeah, lots to cover today. I'm going to go through the design process that we've been through and give you an update on the design for the Green 38 also. So, we can go to the first slide. So, just a reminder, the Green is located east of Wadsworth on 38th Avenue between Elm Street and Court. And we're really looking at the front lawn speakers. We go to the next slide. So, this site has been used by the city during the school district, and working with local works, putting on a lot of community events, concerts, Rich Fest, Criterion Food Fest, holiday celebration, trunk retreat, there's a lot of things that happen. But the site was really never designed for this. It's just a site that's available. So we go to the next slide. There's a lot of those events that take place in the next slide. So, temporary stages, it's all temporary restaurant facilities, but really no amenities for people who attend those events. So we can go to the next slide. So we were hired in late 2018 to really start looking at designing that lawn space that is currently the Green 38. And our first thing was to meet with a stakeholder group. We met in October of 2018. Attendees included folks from Jeffco Schools, Stevens Elementary, local boards, some local business owners, and cities. And we talked about the needs and desires for the project, and ultimately developed a vision statement that was to create a flexible and safe gathering space that can be used for community events, concerts, and festivals, while also providing a physical buffer and separation from the school space. And there were some particular objectives there. One, to have a venue for outdoor performances, a permanent structure for shade and for performances, and so we looked at a few design options. So if we go to the next slide, the first two concepts we looked at really focused on that available green space. So that's one we kind of went with. We really felt like we were challenged in trying to provide separation from the school with it being right next to the main entrance. So we looked at another option where we swapped the parking lot, at least get it from the main entrance. And then finally, we looked at this option that really used the parking lot to separate the parking. Another benefit of that is that the school, the park really gets the full frontage. So the city and school district talked about that, had some discussions and decided that this concept of redesigning the parking lot to separate the two sides really makes sense. So we developed that plan a little further. Working with Jeffco Schools on circulation for the parking lot, and came to city council with that plan in October of 2019. So I had general support for that, and we're asked to look at continuing. So we had another meeting with the stakeholder group. And in general, the stakeholder group also favored the concept, thought it worked well, and then we started getting more details about things to consider on the site. So that included things like making sure that it's a flexible space to allow for multiple kinds of events, trying to contain everything within the park rather than the spill on the streets and having food trucks and those kind of things. I won't read all of those, but basically getting into a lot of details about it. So then over the next several months, we developed two different concepts that really use that idea of using the parking lot to separate the park and the school. So we have this one that was based on that concept of democracy. And then this other one that looked at a different way of organizing the site. And with those two, we had some good public outreach. So we had a public meeting in September of 2021, had about 40 people attend. And then we also had online outreach through What's Up the Bridge. We had about 1,100 visits to the project page and had 177 respondents to an online survey. That essentially equally favored the two, no clear consensus among them. So we came to a city council meeting in April of 2022, and we're given direction to use the first concept, concept A, with a few elements from concept B. So from there, we started to do some research about the projects. So one of the things that we found is that this project site is the oldest continually occupied educational site in the state of Colorado. So the first school was built on that site, actually moved to that site in 1873. That's the one-room schoolhouse on the upper left there. Since that time, there have been several different school buildings on the site continuously since then. The current school in the bottom right there was built in 1994. Since the very first days of the school, that one schoolhouse served as a community center. Part of our research, we can go to the next slide. We found this written recollection by F.T. Johnson, who was born in 1860. Came to Wheat Ridge in 1881 as a young man. But he noted that the schoolhouse was used for social affairs. So the Methodist Church met there, the first range in Colorado, was established and met in that school building. The school was the home to the library, the literary society, the polling place, and had other social events. In particular, Mr. Johnson wrote, we gave entertainment to almost everybody in the neighborhood, as well as those within traveling distance. We put on plays and furnished music which drew large crowds, and filled the schoolhouse to capacity, and sometimes standing rooms. So we think there's this really powerful story that the area's children have been educated on this, and people have been gathered to connect here as a community on this side. So we're really excited that this project is to make sure that the tradition continues. We were also really inspired by the agrarian background roots of Wheat Ridge. So this is a 1937 aerial of Wheat Ridge. If we go to the next slide, this is kind of zoomed in. The street right in the middle there going horizontally, left to right, is 38th Avenue. And on the left, there's kind of a square building. That's the school site. That's our project site. Yeah. We were really inspired by this kind of patchwork land use, fields, the orchards, We've also been thinking about sort of the community in New Ridge and sort of this patchwork of people, and businesses, and ideas that really come together to make up this community. So through a lot of our research, we found a lot of images from farming days, from past past parades, sports teams, all these kind of things that really go to kind of make up. So when we started working on developing the Red Hat, we did have some concerns about the Red Hat concept that we had talked about previously. And as we talked with staff, the stage building grew a little bit, we even had a larger stage. And ultimately, we were concerned that the lawn wasn't going to be large enough to hold a number of people that we wanted to hold these conferences. And we really only had about 7,000 square feet of lawn that we the stage, and it was a very short lawn, only about 50 feet from stage to back. So we worked with staff and agreed that we should use a concept that's more similar to concept B to accommodate larger audiences, but we did make some changes to the plan to accommodate some concerns that council had expressed. So we developed this updated plan. And you can see sort of the patchwork concept there that's shown on the plan. We have planters, there's paving patterns that are really inspired by that aerial photograph. But there's a lot of benefits to mirroring this. We've essentially mirrored what we were seeing previously on the concept B. So now the stage is on the west side of the cell facing east. So in doing that, we'll be able to save 7 mature trees on the site that include the 4 evergreens that are on the southeast corner that are used for holiday lighting. We have better solar orientation for the performers on the stage. The access to the stage from the rear, from up and works very well. It allows for a bigger stage structure, so that includes some storage rooms. And then it also directs the sound of the stage. So we found a lot of benefit in doing that. Patrick mentioned the importance of getting this project started and making sure that we have a team on start. So one of the things that we've been really focused on is working on the parking lot. So we separated the project into 2 phases. This is an image of one of the plans for the parking lot plans. So this shows the driveway entrance on both Upland and High Court. It's kind of changed what was added based on our request from the school district. But those plans have been submitted. They've been approved by the school district and West Metro Fire, and anticipating final approval by the city probably this week. And we have a contractor who's on board and is negotiating the contract right now, so we should have any issues with starting construction first. And then in the meantime, we've also been updating the plans for the park. So I thought this is the most recent that we have. We're currently working on construction documents for this. I thought I would go through all of the various components of the plan. So on the left there, we have the stage structure that we're looking at. There's an event lawn right on that. Just to the east of the lawn is a community gathering area that we'll talk more about. And then east of that, we have a playground. There's a big curved promenade through the park that allows for multiple uses there. There's a plaza along 38th Avenue. A seating area next to that. A few walks that provide some good connection to the playground. And then we have the plantings and some streetscape. So we can kind of go through some of these park elements. Go to the next slide. We're anticipating an entrance sign at the corner of Upland and 38th. To really greet people as they're coming into the site. We're still looking at fonts and colors and that kind of thing to show the idea of this sign. Right next to that, we have this area or this item we're calling the Lee Bridge Community Patchwork. So the idea is to take that patchwork idea and really demonstrate that with the community. So the intent here is that these would be illuminated polycarbonate panels with images on them. You can go to the next slide. So really sort of showing some of these both historic and current images as a patchwork that really reflects the lower panels shown there would be also polycarbonate with some steel mesh in front of them, but those would be lighter colors, so holiday lighting, city colors, whatever it would be. And that parallels the promenade. Go to the next slide. So the promenade is made up of a 12-foot main walk. There's a 10-foot soft surface pressure fines area toward the lawn. It allows for flexible space for tables and trees along that. And then an 8-foot area on the opposite side of that for viewing the community patchwork, but also allowing for food trucks to park there as well. And it's also flexible for food. So some examples of how that can operate during concerts. There's room for food trucks to park along there. That could also be used for farmers markets and those kind of events. And there's also flexibility where that could be set up along. So really trying to think of this as a very flexible space that the city would be able to use for lots of different. The community gathering area just next to that. So that has a shade structure. And we've been looking at the custom seating element. And then site furnishings around there, sort of lounge kind of seating. There's 2 fire pits there, a ping pong table, and there's also a cornhole board. So really seeing that as a main area. When we last met, there was some concerns about fire pits in public space. So I wanted to talk about some of the research that we've done. What we have here are, if we go back, we have 3 examples here from a couple of parks. The one on the upper left is in Festival Park in Festival. The bottom left is Gene Lake Mall, that's in Omaha. And then the 2 on the right are Discovery Park. So 2 of those are public operated fire pits. So we can go and turn those on. We can go to the next slide. There's actually a timer on the one there in parking. It obviously has an emergency shut off. But basically, those are able to be turned on. They produce some heat, but it's less than you may think. So one of the guy leaning against the cover area, that fire went off for at least 30 minutes. And after that, I'm going to put my hand on the pedal. If you go back 1 slide, if you look at the upper right image, there's actually snow right on the edge of the fire pit. So a lot of it is for ambiance, and this is a way to bring people together. It obviously does provide a little bit more. I just wanted to show some examples of that. And then you can see there's examples of open fire versus also having a cover. Both ways. We did talk to Castlerock about this. They said they've never had an issue with them. The reason they did end up putting some covers over them is in different parts they had people putting marshmallows over the corner and some of those kind of issues. But they said people use them all the time. And then moving on from that, we have a play area just next to that. We don't have a lot of square footage for that play area. So I wanted to try to produce some kind of interest and good play value. So we're looking at having some vertical towers for play there. Those are ADA accessible. There's actually a spiral belt that goes all the way up to the tower so people can access that. So it is fully accessible. There's 2 towers for 5 and 12-year-olds, and we're also looking at a separate structure for 2 to 5-year-olds. Planning on synthetic turf for play surfacing. We have some seat walls and benches for parents to sit around that, including that seating structure we just looked at in the gathering space. And then we have tables and chairs along the plaza as well, so lots of opportunities
And this is an example of both of those structures. Also looking at another opportunity for some, bring people together with some musical instruments right across the promenade from the playground. So the intent here is that they're sculptural, they are designed as musical instruments that actually tune, so it's not like playing but a good opportunity for folks to come together there. Just next to that, we have the seating road, and we're really looking back to be sort of a quiet place that you can hang out. Some kind of sculptural seating and seating on the benches around that. A good place to read a book or bring lunch. Looking at having a pressure flying surface there, so really wanting that to feel somewhat picnic area or leisure area. Just next to that, we have this 38th Avenue Plaza. Again, really trying to focus on the flexible use there, so thinking about movable tables and chairs along that, really having a strong connection to the street. This could also be used for those kind of events. And on the lower left image, or sorry, lower right image, you can see the potential of having sale desks for bigger events. And then going to the lawn, really looking at trying to make this an interesting place for people during different times. So considering catenary lights over the lawn, really to provide ambiance during events. Imagine being out there. I think something that the project team has talked about is just the flexible use of the lawn. So those kind of lights could make it harder to toss a football or that kind of thing. So if we think that's important, I think there's ways to use those lights around the inside the edge. Something that the design team has been talking about with this. Going to the stage, the intent is for that to be a concrete and steel structure with a ton of blue wood ceiling, trying to just provide some warmth to that. You can see the two rooms in the back that are restored for the green. And then you've been working with staff to make sure you got the right size, width, and depth for that stage. The intent is just to provide electrical outlets and performance with very little. Back to the plan view on the upper right of the park, there's a little roof there. That's a sound enclosure that can be there all the time. We've got that place close to the road for ease of access for students. Again, the planters, the intent is to really think about that kind of patchwork area, and the intent is to have monocultures of plants in each of those different branches, so you've got very strong forms throughout. Along the streetscape, there is new street lighting, new trees along the street. Planning to have enough bike racks for at least 20 bikes. And then there's a bus stop that would be resetting there. I want to talk a little bit about the site furnishings as well. So one of the things we've been working with staff on is using some wood in some of those areas. So these are ECU's thermally modified ash. And really the intent is just to bring some warmth to it. It's steel. It also ties in with the ceiling for the stage and shelter. Looking at the custom seating elements to go to the next. These are some examples of how those can look. These are also built with thermally modified ash. Lots of different seating positions and the ability to have LED lights within it, so the entire structure can glow. In that community gathering space, we talked about some game tables. So those are built with concrete and steel. We use these in several parks. They are bring your own bags and get on the equipment. In some of the other areas, we have some seat walls. So we've got some wall top benches using the same materials. Looking at some game tables. And, those benches actually are plastic and have LED lights in them, so they can glow in sculptures. And then other tables and chairs, we've been talking a lot about flexible use. So we've really been focused primarily on the movable tables and chairs, the cafe tables there.
looking to bring a pop of color to the park, some flexibility for people to sit in different ways. And then we also, these are stackable, so if there's events that we can stores. And then also looking at some potential permanent tables and chairs as well in some areas. And then that last image is looking at these streetscape furniture. These are city standards. And I think we like having this contrast between what's happening in the streetscape and what's happening. So that's a quick rundown of the process and the place. Great, thank you very much. Yeah. Questions? Questions? Councilor Cobb?
So you said that we have new street lights along the street. Currently, as I understand, XL Energy owns those, so will we be buying those particular ones there? In replacement of the ones we have?
Yes. So they're the ones that are used along regular locations.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure in XL one, and then Arlington. Then we'll be done. Do those streetlights then have, plugs on them? And then my only other question is, do you think that the lawn area would be able to, host an ice rink in the winter, or do you think it would really look on underneath that?
That's a good question. The lawn is not flat. So it slopes from east to west. So it would be challenging. Councilor Bowser?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you for the presentation. So this indicates that this final concept, there is going to be a driveway from High Court into the parking lot, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and then, with the amphitheater stage, the music is going to be projected east. So what kind of like finishes are you using to buffer that sound from the apartments to the west?
Yeah, so that's a good question. There's, part of it is the two buildings at the back of the stage. And then we also have, on the landscape plan, you can see there's a lot of trees along that. And it tends to sort of have that stage built into the landscape. So that should totally make sense. Thank you, Councilor Hall.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for the presentation. A couple questions I had were on the entrances for the food trucks on the east and west. Is there going to be some type of bollard to prevent vehicle access?
That's a good question. It's not something we talk about. Not that we couldn't have. And it's not something the staff is waiting to concern.
And then the other question is along that large access, are there going to be some type of power outlets for the food trucks?
Yes, there's going to be both 110 and 220. Thank you, Amir, for those sites.
Thank you, sir. I think this is really cool. I think this is a really exciting design, and it's a really cool place to go hang out. I do appreciate your firm being so quick to answer the comments and the questions from the parents and the people at Stevens. I got a couple calls at the annex from some parents that were about ready to build the worst parking lot ever. Which, you know, I understand there's 200 and some more kids there this year and it's parking lot. So definitely appreciate that. My question is about the lights above the green. You said those would possibly be removed or?
They could be.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that could be, they can either be removed, they can stay in place, they could be just around the outside of it, they could be in certain portions of the house.
And I really like that you guys readjusted the stage to blow the sound away from all the neighborhoods and fronts. That makes sense because it's all going towards this is a little close. So great job. Thank you.
Councilor Bowman?
It is really exciting to see this. District is very excited. So I
first of all, I just want to thank the city and district staff for being responsive to the community's, interest in making sure that is accommodating traffic. Not necessarily something we resolve here, but Councilor Owen and I are just also very mindful of, the traffic patterns and impacts. And so beyond the investment here, we're really looking at how does, investment like this change the vehicular and the extreme traffic. Because we, up on this, goes all the way through from 38 to 44 without any cross traffic, like what's kind of open the little corner, and you've got constituents on both of those corners who are really concerned. And then, just visibility and traffic, not interest. And so there's just going to be a lot more like crossings. So just want us to be focused on that. I have a couple of comments, requests. At a high level, it's really exciting to see all of the programming going on in the park. It does feel like a lot of programming, and I know that was one of the things we said we wanted to make sure that there are ways to interact with the space, and we recognize this is a space that gets activated through scale of community events, but most days it will be, a space where, people within the community, or people that, from ours, or people's businesses are going to be there. So, I'm just wanting to be mindful of the amount of just sort of maintenance and attention. So many programming elements, especially ones that can be moved around. I'm also a little bit concerned about some of how attractive some of these positions are for game programs. So I'm sort of curious when you're looking at vertical walls and all of the how concerned should we be around that being an attractant for game programs?
Yeah, it's a good question. We've had a lot of discussion about that in our meetings with me and staff as well as on we come to a really good the discussion so far have been, yes, cities we're trying to be careful with the kind of site images that we're choosing. Specifically with regard to those public program panels, there is the kind of thing that's used in signage, all of the spaces. I won't say it's impossible to break some break sometimes, but it's sometimes. It can be cleaned up for each of these
and then kind of going back to the playground spaces, there's a good playground just right on the outside of that thing there. I wonder if I like the vertical elements, but what I've seen a lot of kids really like is just sort of like low play, high more jump around, kind of a little bit less program play space, a little bit more fun. Is that something you guys could look at as an option, or is that going to get considered for the value engineering?
It is something to look at. We don't have a lot of square footage for it. So it ends up, we don't go, we don't have a lot of room to so we have talked about changing that. It's really
and then my last question is really centered around forward versus manual sign art. So for this project, is that bring it 38 sign and then the historical interpretation materials is that?
There will be a separate budget for public art, and so that will be a separate process that we go through. We did talk about incorporating art into maybe one of those pieces, so the display wall could be considered art, but it's again through the process. So no, so there would be, we have to find another potential location for some type of art piece.
And then the last question, so the June 1st is when we want to get out of them, what would be the proposed construction?
So the parking lot basically needs to happen in
hoping that the park will sort right after that. Depending on how long it takes us to review things, there could be a but basically looking for, spring,
Yeah, May-ish, 25.
Thank you. Thanks for this presentation. I appreciate it. I was not here for the other discussions, although I have been following the project. Councilor Holstein mentioned this already, but I think this is a great opportunity for some of our local artists to be a part of this in some way, and our historical society with the campus tours and the history lessons. But I love those designs and the ideas around it, and so thank you for the information around working with the cultural commission on that. And just so I'm clear with, as far as the maintenance, is it shared between like parks and open space and school district or?
It would be, if we can get into that next, that's the next item actually, let's talk about the relationships with the agreement. It would be, wholly owned, city, with more land and,
That's all I have.
I have a couple of questions. You mentioned on the stage that the musicians would bring their own amplifiers, so that, how would would we have lighting available for the stage? They would bring their own lighting, or they would bring their own also. The stage would just have some lights or whatever. Are there two storage areas in the back? Are they large enough to store furniture that you might want to use seats for them? Yes. So that's sort of the intention. They have a
Thank you. So, this would be more for staff, as far as the value engineering process, is that going to take place between, the designer and staff, or like, back to council, and how different do you anticipate the final concepting from what it's like now to the anticipated value engineering?
Sure. I don't think it would change much of the layout of the sign. It would be more types of materials we use. We've already had a discussion. Probably the stage is the most expensive piece of this design, and we've already had initial discussions about using these types of materials for that could cut the cost of it. We just have to put those on.
That's right. But the intention is to look very similar to the show. Councilor Hobby.
I was excited to hear about all the yeah, so, one of the great initiatives of just, the last week where I was asking about, EV charging, is, this is going to be right there, e-bike, however, I think this is where I can walk my e-bike up and charge it. It's actually really helpful, so maybe where you've got a little bit of density around the bike, just to, like everyone's got proprietary chargers, but if I'm going a distance, I can my charger with me, and then I have a removable battery, so I'll bring it to the coffee shop, but, what I would really love is just be able to park my bike and charge it there, so something just to contemplate now, just a couple of little bit of, e-bike riders to do this.
Councilor Hobby.
Thank you, Chair. This project has been a long time coming. We've been trying to work towards this for a really long time, so it's really exciting to see the process. I'd like to ask for consensus. We need a consensus.
We have a consensus to move this project forward. We do. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. We now turn to agenda item number 3. This is our agreement with Jefferson School District for the development of Unit 38.
Great, thank you. I don't know if Sam's coming up, you can come up with these questions. He's shy. He came all this way. And Mr. Gall's here too. He's helping with the legal documents and the very complicated verb language, which we'll talk about a little bit. So Mr. Gall for that. Jefferson County has been, the school district's been a great partner in this project. So thank them. They have agreed to convey the property that's necessary for the green portion to the city in exchange for the city constructing the parking lot, which we talked about. And parking lot is estimated at about $1.4 million. The city is currently working on a plat to separate the green from the parking lots, which not will be owned and maintained by the school district. The city will own and maintain the green. School district, as part of this agreement, will require the inclusion of a reverter in the agreements, which will basically say that, require that the city will operate and maintain this as part of purposes. If for some reason we decide not to down the road, which I don't think we would anytime soon, after investing this much, the school district property gets deeded back to the school district. Karen O'Donnell has been working with Jefferson County Open Space also. This adds the extra layer to it to remove the reverter that's on the transfer part that we decommissioned and put that on the grid. So Jefferson County Open Space will also need a reverter as part of the agreement that if the city does not continue using this for park purposes, only the open space can actually come in and operate it as a park. They want their reverter to be in the first place above the school. Let's see. Yeah, so that's kind of it. The agreement is very simple. There's really just those conditions that I am presenting to the Jefferson School Board on Wednesday for their approval of this agreement. But Mr. Gall, you want to talk about the what you've been looking out for these and the agreement? Mr. Gall, the full agreement.
Sure. I don't have a lot to add. The agreement itself on 20 some pages long is the standard contract. Many times, there's nothing special about it. It's fine. Especially if no consideration in terms of acquiring property, see the spend was mentioned at 1.4 million. So, parking lot. The real action is in the last paragraph of the agreement, which is where the real action always is, for special conditions attended upon this deal. If you're buying or selling a house, the standard contract and the special conditions are they'll need the sofa and they'll fix the living room windows and things like that. So here, the special condition is about the reverter. We had I thought, a pretty constructive conference call a couple of weeks ago about how to arrange these reverters and be able to do with the minimum of transactions back and forth. And one of the ideas is the school district puts a reverter on and transfers it to the open space with the reverter back. And before we came out, because we think we can have a single transfer from the school district to the city, containing reverters in the appropriate order for the school district and for open space. And school district open space. So yes, they thought that would work, and that's what I need to create that language. And that language will then get embedded in the deed that transfers property from school district to the city and implements these reverter requirements. And as Bill said, the Townsend Park moved. And that's a classic thing that Jefferson County Open Space is actually pretty flexible on how to do it. When you need to acquire open space funds or support for doing property, they require that there be a reverter. But they're also pretty good about allowing them to move reverters around. So long as their position is they're fine. So that's the structure we agreed upon and working on the contract, which you'll see soon.
Yes, it's actually scheduled for March 25th. We get it through, and finalized by then, you can also move, another to the meeting if you need to, but should be one.
And Jim, bring that to the conversation. Okay, questions? Councilor Lozman.
Not really a question, just a comment. I really appreciate staff and, Jefferson County School Board having these conversations, and partnering. And I think one of my biggest concerns just following all the school closures, and various cyclical conversations around that, over the last decade, was that we would, come to an intergovernmental agreement or memorandum of understanding that would, you know, equal the amount of investment that we're putting into somebody else's building. So the fact that it's, becoming our property and going to remain farmland for the purposes of activating that corridor, is wonderful and has absolved many concerns that I had, and I'm really happy to see this move forward. I know this has been a major undertaking. So I just appreciate staff working with all the community stakeholders, and just really coming to a place where this was feasible. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Slavis.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I don't have a question either. I actually just want to say this deal has kind of gotten better and better and better. Every single time it comes back, with the financing ways that, or the way that we finance it, or this, I'm grateful to Jeff Doe and the staff for doing a great job putting this together, and I agree with the way it's structured as far as just the meeting back before. So, great, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Larson.
Thank you, Mayor. And maybe Mr. Duncan can help me understand a little bit more about the role that Town Center Park plays in this preferred action.
Sure, you want me to start? Sure. Yeah, so Town Center Park was developed, actually, as one of the city's first urban projects was the Safeway shopping center that was redeveloped years ago. The idea at the time was to put the park in the middle of that shopping center, which at the time might have been a good idea. It just never really worked over the years. It became kind of a dangerous spot, actually. So we decommissioned it. But there was a $6 that we used for the either the purchase or maintenance and construction of the park. So that's where Jefferson County Open Space requires that there's a reverb put on it, because the money comes from the Open Space Fund. So we have to continue using that as a park. Again, we decided to decommission it. The county has agreed to allow us to move that river to another park. Their main goal is that their inventory of square footage of parkland never decreases. So it's actually decreasing with this move to the green. So I'm not sure that that's just.
Yeah, it does. There was mention of Town Center Park being sold.
Yes, so that will have the ability to sell the park then, and we can use, as long as we're encouraged, I don't know if it's a mandatory for Jefferson Open Space, but we can put the money from that sale into the grant.
And when we talk about selling Town Center Park, just selling it on the market or anybody in particular?
We've had a couple different interested parties looking at it, but we have to, when we're ready to come back to council and have a discussion on it.
It's not the best analogy, but you can think of open space reserves in the same way as you think about a deed of trust. You know, you buy property and you have a fund in the back pocket to buy it. You borrow money in the bank, it's a deed of trust to secure their investment in your land. And just kind of open space has invested in the form of dollars money in that park, and so that investment needs to continue to be secured with some piece of property, and you can move, as you sometimes move deeds of trust, and you switch out the property that's subject to the deed of trust that's secured. And so the same thing's happening here. The analogy isn't exact, but I think it helps you understand kind of what is the interest of Jefferson County Open Space and another way of thinking about the recruiter as an instrument by which they kind of maintain their
security in their investment when you giving the city money to do park things.
Thank you, Councilor Hopkins.
Thanks, I was just gazing at the design. Councilmember Burton took a big question, which was just around the scale of the town center and how it can be used towards the green. And I guess maybe a follow-up to that, and we're going through that engineering process. How do we measure potential revenue to go towards the investment in the green versus the value engineering? So like, if we've got the additional revenue, we're not overvaluing engineering, like this significant. So I'm just curious about your sequencing.
Yeah, exactly. I would not like to value engineer if we didn't have to, but this is something that there's about $1 million that's it right now, the funds we have, but Brandon Heltenberg is doing an amazing job of finding money. And we also have other opportunities if we can't value engineer, conservation trust budget, the open space budget, will have additional funding available in 25, which we could also put towards this, which we have budgeted yet, obviously. Also, we've been talking about, I haven't verified this with bond council yet, but I believe that the two shade fund would be eligible for this, since it is streetscape improvements on a major border. So we could do some of that for this.
Well, I'm just really excited, I just want to thank you, Catherine, and all of the staff in the district for making this work. It means a lot, but it's actually the city's work and not something that we're borrowing, but rather something that is ours to continue to want to see. So really appreciate all of your comments and appreciate it. It's complicated. So thank you all.
Thank you, Commissioner. So a couple questions there. So with the open space reserve moving to this property and it being a larger piece of land, if for any reason in the future we decide to decommission this as a park and want to move it further somewhere else, would it have to be the same square footage?
I don't think they look at it by square footage. As I mentioned, the goal is to make sure that we're growing and we're increase, but
And I've got experience in other places, they're pretty flexible around those. Exact, so long as in the main, their program is roughly the same. So that's better than the bank where you would do the trust, you would need an exact, and that's where their analogy breaks down.
And then do you have estimated costs on the site survey, the plat, the city being responsible for, or the contract?
Yeah, we got Mr. Gall's office, paralegal is doing that for us, so he's going to do it.
Yeah, we'll give you a great rate on that.
It'll be minimal. Yeah.
Trying to work. Minuscule in comparison to the rest of the project.
I'm super excited for this to happen for us to be able to
I'll give Ms. Coffey some props here. It was actually her suggestion to us to deed the land in exchange for the city being working on some.
I had a question on the period of performance. We've got, looks like 90 days to get it platted and all approvals. Is that a realistic timeframe?
Yeah, it's 90 days from when the contract is signed, which we're shooting for March 25th. So it'll be 90 days from then. The plat work gets started already. Yep.
That's to the end, that's the end of June. That's when some planning work is supposed to say zoning or something that's in down. Subjective.
And we have all those approvals in-house.
Yeah.
And just a little assurance on the time to build the part, 60 days. Pretty good.
Well, the good news is with that, we have, as Mark mentioned, we have a contractor on board already, CCI, that's, these types of projects. And so they've been part of the design process for about 6 months, and then every meeting, they can be staged and ready to go well before June 1st. So, it's not like they're going to come in June 1st and then take a month to get started, right?
We can just, or, yeah, the last summer we did, in association with the city of Nevada and our portable property became. And they built 162 spaces. Do we have consensus to move this project forward? Sure looks like we do. Thank you very much for coming tonight. Look forward to your activities and very much. Thanks, Mark. Please, Mark. Standing in the field. Okay, we will now go to agenda item 4. This is a discussion about a resolution in opposition to House Bill 24-1152, ADU policy. Stop.
So, Mayor, and who is on our policy committee at CML, correct? And CML requested that City Council consider a resolution in opposition of this bill that deals with accessory dwelling units. As you all know, we passed legislation here in Wheat Ridge based on a lot of public outreach over the years on how we want to accessory dwelling units in Wheat Ridge. The biggest, I think, concern that CML has and that potentially we have as a city, if this bill passes, it would override the city's decision to require home or occupied, home or occupied, has to be in one, the ADU would remain residence, right? So CML's primary reason for opposition to this bill is preemption of those decisions. So, Mr. Mayor asked to bring this forward for city council decisions. So, do you want to take it from here?
I think this is not only local preemption, but I think it also really takes out of our hands the details of being able to regulate this type of zoning use. And I think we spent 6 years in the process of reaching out to our citizens and crafting policy. And I think we've got better policy on the local level and through the state house. And this is not the only bill that's coming to the state house that has its basis that the state has a better idea of how to construct local affairs and bring our city. Certainly appreciate the goals that the governor and members of the legislature have to create more housing, more affordable housing. And I think our city is really kind of on the cutting edge of doing that in-house. And I think that we should stand up and fight for our rights. So that's Councilor Team.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As somebody who spends a lot of their day tracking what's going on under the dome, in fact, the bill I've been working on is but I want to separate my comments from this particular proposal, and that we as a council don't really have any particular methodology for what bills come to us for consideration on taking a position on. It tends to be a little bit of an ad hoc, response to even when it's asked of us from a trusted partner or And, you know, and there are a lot of this session that, you know, could be coming here. And so I just want to, I guess, bring forward the conversation about, you know, what, I find myself wondering, what are our parameters for consideration of taking legislative action, and how do we, you know, contemplate like our position on it, taking the pose versus suggesting amending like leaders in good policy, and also supporting certain bills. I know Councilmember Owen and I have been tracking and feeling a lot of concerns around the proposal for short-term rental properties to be taxed at commercial property rates. I think that would work against our good policy making we've done here, and I think we're actually working against our overall housing fund that is generated through short-term rentals. So, I want to bring forward that I would feel a lot more comfortable as these bills are coming through the session if we have some framework of what is the criteria we're using as a body for consideration of position on bills. And so I wanted to kind of just that conversation because that feels important. And there's more bills coming, there's a transit community bill, there's a smart growth bill, there's a uniform bill, there's a lot of those. And just, I am interested in what is our framework for it. So we've got some consistency and also wanting to be mindful that if we mentioned the promise of taking a resolution in opposition to this AD bill that will be confusing for community when we're opposing something that looks like it's trying to promote ADUs when we just had a couple years trying to encourage them. So I just want to just walking thoughts from.
You know, just to kind of respond to that, you know, I think it's, you know, maybe a great idea to have, you know, sit down and have a more organized discussion about how we want to think about the legislative process, and how we sort of support bills. We were a member of CML, and great measure, I think, our interests align with CML, with respect particularly to local control of the entry by the state. And we believe our constitutionally our right to do. The other challenge that we have, as you know, is that these bills hit, you know, they look like skaters on skating. They are here and then the other end of the rink and flat. So you have to sort of balance your ability and desire to really vet these things. You got a position that you want to and still be at the table. You know, with states left for 5%. That's wrong.
Thank you, Mayor. One thing I was looking at after that conversation on the local team was there was another county law that actually at every study session we have a legislative, I guess, kind of a pulse. I wonder if that's something that we could incorporate into our study sessions. And it doesn't need to be a long chat, it's just like taking our way. These are some legislative issues that we really need to be thinking about. And, you know, is there just a quick kind of consensus of, okay, we want to look at opposing this bill, but it would be something that would be great, just that, say, like this study session. So we use, okay, quick pulse, here's things that are coming up, and then we would have a local runway for some to consider opposing it. At that CML conference that you and I attended, Director Minglak had said that the ADU bill, the city, we were just 80% compliant with it, and that I think we all know that the one thing that we talked about early on was having the home ownership. In my opinion, I thought that was a good thing to track that out. We can always peel that back. But the question I would have for our attorney is, and maybe I already know the answer, is to what degree should we allow preemption? Or tolerance? Is it 0? Is it little okay? Is it a slippery slope?
Well, the answer is zero, and
Yes.
it's a slippery slope. I mean, seriously, after spending 6 years of that, that seems an awful which is a constant battle, and I will tell you that so often, preemptive bills, adjustment preemption, at the same legislature are not ones that went through an interim committee over the summer, where they thoughtfully talked about whether this should be a statewide program and what are the considerations to making sure it's good for all individuals in the state. Absolutely not. Much more often, it's a project in Swing, or a project in Northland, or a project in unincorporated Rockland that has irritated or upset the neighbors or that jurisdiction in some way. And that is brought to the local legislator, brings it to ask the legislative council to draft a bill preempting that city from doing that. And I'm not exaggerating. So I give you that background as the foundation for the answer to the question, which is on preemption. And there's some state thought that will get going into this bill. But I don't think there's a lot of, a lot of engaged discussion with locals at the county ordinance level about how do you exactly administer AU programs and what's working and what isn't. That would be how you develop a state program that might have preemptive elements, and you go, okay, we might still not like it, but we understand that there's a real problem. So it's very difficult, I think, to say, okay, we'll accept the preemption on the occupancy, but reject other preemption. That's okay. Because in the end, local control means that you get to decide whether the owner occupancy is important here. I think this is their local decision. It's not a decision that you can make or should make at the state level. Because each community is different. Each community feels different about owner occupancy. Mount community is a ski area community. You don't care as much from represents some ski area communities and their viewpoint around owner occupancy is very different. And it can be, it's allowed to be, and it serves their interests properly. Owner occupancy here, requirement as opposed to not, really is responsive to what you heard of in your constituency. So, sorry for that long speech, but really, preemption, yes or no, is that kind of broad discussion that has its own. We see preemptive bills from the legislature. Very often, we're not broad. This is good for broad because somebody wants this to Councilor Bob.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do definitely agree with Councilwoman Hulsey about maybe having a more robust process around what we bring forward, that we're going to sign resolutions and send to the state. There's definitely different ways to do that. Councilman Hunt's suggestion, we can also have the legislative update into earlier in the year perhaps. And so I would like to see that. I would like to see us have some sort of process around that. As far as this goes, I'm okay with it if we could somehow say something, if we could amend it to say that we're opposing it unless amended to allow home ownership or property ownership, property owners on the property for the So because that was so important to our community when we were doing ADUs, and I know that it's not best practice. I know that there's several different reports out there that say forcing to have property ownership on the property for an ADU is not best practice at all. However, for the state of Greenwich, we feel like that's the best practice for citizens. It hasn't been that long since we've had the ADU, and I don't
we would like to get in this month.
Mayor, who decides?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I was going to have the same suggestion as Council Hopkins. We have a legislative forum scheduled for March 18th, which is not next week, it's supposed to be the following. I don't know if we can move that up. I don't know if that works with CML and those people to move that up. Not obviously this year, but in the
In
future.
next year's, I think we can always move it up, sure. I think the reason we go a little later is there's not a lot going on in January. And so we're talking a lot of, usually March, you really know a lot of meat that's going on. I think if we want to have a discussion about how we're going to make a decision as a council, that some of this issue, some next year. Yeah, there's other things we can do. But the mayor's correct, bills change hourly, and I don't think bringing an update here at council study session would be quick. We could try it, maybe it's just one or two bills, but they're complicated, it's hard to explain, it's hard to understand that bills, so what we can do anything you guys want, it's not, it's to so Pete's point is we don't have an internal process, our process is to see that's our process.
Yeah, for me personally, I want to move this up and having that conversation separately. But for this bill and pretty much any other bill that's ever going to come up that exempts home rule, I don't know. And amended or whatever, it's still going to exempt our home rule. I'm not okay with that. So I say that we move forward with this resolution, but in moving forward, I do believe that, and I don't know, when did most of these bills get passed, or do they, I know, what is this schedule? I don't.
Yeah, and that's different too. I mean, the session is typically over the first week or two in May, first, second week. So a lot of them go to their last day. It just depends. A lot get introduced at their last week. I don't know this one. It's just really depends.
Things do start to accelerate in March, and Bill says, the snow that start dropping out, just like the PI, those ones that get behind, the budget or whatever. So it could likely, it could move quickly, or not, and it could be one of these last minute deals where they put band-aids on it in 3 days after the session to get approved. It may well be, because I think it's an administration support, because it's not a small constituency behind it. So it may live for a while the administration tries to figure out, the government tries to figure out how to do it.
And that is exactly why it's not. Because we put 6 years into what we did. They're doing 3 months into what they did. So, maybe, and only doing what they can get passed. So, but I do think that we should look at a process, but not every week, not every month, maybe quarterly or something like that. But once a year right now, it's fine for me. But maybe moving it up a little sooner so we can see some of these things a little bit earlier in the conception and tackle it a little bit easier.
Councilor Dolan?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I really appreciate this coming forward and us having this conversation and the stance that you've taken. I think all municipality responsibilities, within local control are vastly important, as our municipality. And so, I welcome a broader conversation of how to address issues, whether we want to oppose or support various ones. Although since I've been on council, I think what we've been doing has worked. Partnering with CNL has been wonderful. I think March is actually kind of an appropriate time to have a legislative update because so many bills die. And if things come up like this, for example, where we need to take pretty immediate action, I feel like we've done a pretty good job at handling that, as opposed to having this really robust process to kind of follow the exemption and sense of rules situation. And I'm definitely a no as well. I agree that we've given a lot of thought into how we address zoning, particularly short-term rentals and ADUs. And I am somebody that doesn't believe in over occupancy when it comes to ADUs. However, I think that was what was palatable for our community to get that legislative policy passed. And that was a compromise that we came to after many discussions, robust public input process, and engaging with stakeholders, and that's what works best for our community. And we know that because we went through that very robust process. And so I think anything that encroaches on the municipality, we need to take seriously because I think it's a slippery slope. And it undermines our power and control as a legislative body at the city level. So I'm definitely in support of the resolution against this. And I also am very grateful for CML and the partnership. So thank you for serving that capacity.
Councilor Bowles.
Thank you. I'm really enjoying this conversation and I want to clarify a couple of things. I'm asking the question just in anticipation that I do know that there is at least 3 or 4 more home bills coming. So I think maybe the question I'm posing is, do we want to just take unanimous opposition to bills that are threatening? I'm not making a case that we want to try to get slippery slowly on the home thing, but we could be having this conversation every study session for the rest of the legislative session. And that's why I'm asking for some discernment about how we can really have a conversation like this. So I guess maybe what I'm proposing is if we just have a consensus conversation that any bill that's going through the legislative session that we feel is a threat to the home value that we as members of CML are behind, that we can reach a consensus that we will oppose those bills. I'm just trying to be efficient with like how much of our time and space are we spending talking about what's going on in the capital, especially since it changes so quickly in real time. And I also think that may also aid us to not get in a situation where we are being confusing about our positions on ADUs in a way that we have to recognize a lot of our constituents may not be below the 10% of what it is we're talking about. So, I'm just trying to figure out like what are efficiencies that we can do with our legislative ways. And then I also just want to mention we are, I'm the vice chair of CC for Space Policy, like in the law we have to. So I just want to, that's part of what I think coming up with how are these constituency organizations that we're engaging in leadership, how will we contemplating, those interactions, because state policy does it this. And I think we could do an interesting approach in which maybe part of the legislative session we identify the priorities that we can have the most impact here, whether it's home rule, affordable housing, homelessness, community engagement. We could create some framework for a legislative session that would help sort of get some of that. So I just wanted to kind of clarify that I think this conversation, just because I happen to know what else is coming out, maybe it would just be better for us to come to a consensus about opposing bills discussion that are a threat to the that is at the core of our membership and and then we don't have to go to slippery. So I guess maybe that's something to have on consideration.
Thank you, Mayor. And I agree that 8 council members are going to have 8 different opinions on a lot of legislation that's out there. And I think it's important for, as the council, for us to put that out on the move. There are a number of, as a member of different interest groups, I follow different legislation regarding different parts of the state legislatures looking at. And while a lot of it may not necessarily interest the council, maybe the majority of people in our city, They are things that concern the interest group that I belong to. And so I think it's important for those sort of things to be discussed and those sort of things to be knocked around. We all get, we at the CML, I get a number of other legislative updates, things that kind of catch my eye. And say, you know, this may be of interest to minorities, or, for example, as a member of my homeowners association, I am in discussions with the management company that works with us, and they hire a organization to do their representation in the state capitol. So rather than me calling up Representative Duran or calling up Senator Diane Danielson, I talk to the people that are in contact with lobbying firm, and then they bring their concerns up. So I think it's important for us to understand that everything, not everything, but the things that we think are important, for example, that this particular bit of legislation, that it goes through sort of the structure that's already in place. In this case, it's the Colorado Municipal, and that they represent our interests, and that they understand that our interests are in local control. It often makes up, but maybe not all the time. So again, I think it's important for us to highlight the things that concern us as a council, and also to make aware of our concerns through the organization that does our representation in the capital.
Thank you. Your question, Sykes.
Thank you, Chair. I agree with Councilor Poltine on this. Maybe making a resolution opposing home ownership or home rule. Preemption of home is maybe a better way to go than opposing this bill specifically. I don't know if that might be a good bill, but what happened last year was there was one bill, right? It was 215, Central 215, it had everything, and a bunch of us were in DC, like right as that dropped, with every other legislator in Colorado, and they, yes, to be nice about it, and rightfully so, because it essentially says we don't know what we're doing, and I feel like in Newton specifically, we set an example for a lot of the region on how to do this stuff. So I would be okay if we want to look at that. But I agree with what happened last year with one bill, and they broke it up into several different bills to try to attack them at the front. So I mean, if we just do a resolution opposing all preemption to one rule, I don't know if we can do that now.
Councilor Long.
Thank you, Mayor. One quick question for Jerry. Did every elected official, and I take note of this, protect the Constitution, the city charter, which was in Oklahoma City?
Yes,
And that's
true.
all of it.
Took that up. Sure, all of you took that up. And fundamental to that, like my opinion, is the city's formal charter and some of the ordinances, etc. Under that charter, exercise that in a way that's different than the state's statutes. That's what the voters of the city want when they approve the home rule charter. So it's not just it's a good idea today, but that's the founding principles of the city. So
Thank you. I think, I definitely support Councilmember Holtein's point. We have so many important session issues. I think that I'd like to get to, and we'd all like to get to, just to make things move faster. We just all agree that if it's something that is in conflict with preemption of home rule state, it's a no. Or amendment, we should be aligned with CML and they use it as opposed to listen to it. That's the order we took.
Thank you. This bill was drafted with the recommendations from CLL. We're going through the position papers.
Yeah, I think they did some of their amendments, but not this. I mean, it's not a single draft.
No,
No.
Councilor Snell.
Thank you. On that, I'm new to this email, and I'm reading through the document that's at the end of our packet, and it says opposed unless amended. The CML automatically produce a request for amendments, or is that something that we would be able to have input on and say, we would like these amendments? You know, we're gonna oppose this and these are the amendments that we would like to see, or how does that?
Yeah, we can definitely suggest those as a member of CML, in the policy committee that has representation from all cities, all the members. They bring, CML staff brings, these issues to that committee to ask, do you support or oppose at the very beginning of the legislative session, which they create the policy agenda, which they have in their priorities this year, for the water, fire mitigation, and those sorts of things. That's something that we can bring forward to this council. It's like you support all these priorities. But yes, amendments can be added by, suggested by any member. It goes to CML and the policy committee. It's the one that tells CML staff, oppose less amended, or just oppose outright, or support.
Well, they recommend to the board,
The board, yeah, which is from, comes out.
Okay, thank you for that. Apologies for that. It's not, I am in full support of, Councilman Williams. I think we're just, more robust discussion on bigger, bigger issues coming from the legislature. So, thanks for that little backstory.
we have consensus to move this bill forward to our next, meeting.
Would be, well, so what I was saying is that I would like to see if we were requesting an amended. So would we change a little bit of the language saying we oppose unless amended?
Yeah.
So, opposes HB 2452, 1152, unless amended to remove state preemption of local control of local zoning ordinances. Where are we going?
Yeah.
That would work. Narrower version of it would be, both of us amended to remove the preemption of local requirements for occupancy, which is the thing I understand the problem is most, but you could generalize it as the mayor described. It would clearly cover that, the local requirements for occupancy. Anything else in the bill is bottom of the.
I mean, so to speak to that, so if they, some other amendments said, let's sort of do occupancy limits, in the bill. Let's throw no parking requirements into that. I think the bill also talks about, setbacks from other structures, setbacks from property lines, those sort of, kind of more finer details. There's a lot of, it's not just occupancy.
So what if we made a resolution along the lines of what Councilman Martinez? It's like that where it says, like where in the whereas it says we don't support any house bills that, take away home rule. And then in the underneath, now therefore be resolved, we can say, now therefore we are opposing house bill, whichever house bill being kind of general, but in the end is where we say we're opposing this particular house.
Well, I know we're doing that in the bullet number 2.
Like I said, I'm just
We
trying
oppose
to-
HB 2452, unless amended to, accept.
If I may, I think what Councilman Martinez is suggesting is that the general opposition by the city to preemption of home rule authority be placed as another whereas in whereas section to the resolution. And then that gives you the platform, like you say, in the now there are 4 operative sections. For all these foregoing reasons, we impose 1152 for the reason that it pretty much local authority.
Yeah, I'm just trying to thread the needle between the conversation that has nothing to do about how it sounds like there's a consensus for us to have a standard we pose if it's, against our own environmental. And then that kind of gives us like a boilerplate for then anything else that comes up in the future that is, against that law. That doesn't all
Okay, so another whereas.
Sure. I'm making quick notes. So to begin with, whereas in the right place, figure out what the right place is. Whereas the city council opposes the preemption of home rule authority by the legislature. Because that's your and then in the now therefore, you can do one of two things. You can use the way that's for that, these reasons we oppose 1152. Saying on this legislation, you could do a little less and say we oppose 1152 to the degree it preempts local authority. But you've kind of done that in the general position whereas that gives you the platform to then on a bill by bill basis oppose bills. And so then I don't think you need to change paragraphs 1 and 2 of the now therefore part of the resolution to say, whereas the city council opposes the preemption of home rule authority by state legislation. Period. Councilor Levine.
Yeah, so if we were getting close, so my recommendation was that what we're doing is a resolution that is primarily authorizing our representatives through representation on the policy committee at CML, that we're giving authorization, that we're taking a position that we will propose any bill that preempts, and for that to be what we're doing. I think this is what we're doing. So this is, instead of coming forward with a resolution in opposition to accessory bill, immediate preemption in this bill, 1152, we are bringing forward a resolution in opposition to any bills in legislation, or the 2024 legislative session that takes care of home rule. And the whereas are around that. And if we do that, then does that give the comfortable authority to use our policy that we don't have to bring every one of those bills back here for discussion?
I think we could incorporate into the bill as Mr. Wallace.
Okay, I'm just trying to get away from this like resolution. I'm very sensitive to looking like we're opposing accessory dwelling units. Because I think that is, we have to remember, a lot of our communities at the 10% understanding what we're talking about. And so I think what's the stronger thing is that we're opposing those threatened. So that's just suggesting that we bring forward a resolution that we as a council are unions or supporting the authority of our representative to register in opposition to any bill that meets that criteria. And then we could say in there, like, for example, that I just want it to be a little bit more varied and not really, because I just don't want to create this. We've also spent years talking about affordable housing. And a lot of these bills that the governor is pushing this out a lot is that he's trying to augment opportunities for affordable housing. And I don't want us to get caught in confusing situations where we just spent 2 years and really, I think we're unique regionally and not here. I just don't want to be us taking positions on bills that seem to be confusing to the good work that we've done here for people who aren't going to get managed in lots of our positions. So that's part of, I'm trying to give us good comfort so that you can have the authority there to represent our position, but our
and I agree with your point, that it seems to be like you might be able to add that in the title. You know, maybe it's a resolution in opposition to the preemption of local control as exhibited in the House Bill 24-1152. And then you also have it in whereas later on down the line. Does that help you to get it in the title? So we're talking about opposition to preemption.
Yeah, I guess I was just trying to come up with a solution where we're taking one action and the specific bill gets put in there as an example, rather it's a resolution saying, we're just gonna oppose all the bills, and it doesn't have to be about this specific bill, but rather, as a city council, we're opposing home rule threatening bills.
Also, Bob?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with, well, I think we can keep the title more around what our position is around home rule authority. And then, if you specifically have to call out a bill for that, we can do that somewhere in the whereas, but that isn't necessarily going to the title. Is that what you're?
No. This whole team wants a resolution that states that we're against any bill that preempts local control. And then that gives the mayor the authority to, when Monica Durant calls it, or this is which she does, she calls 5 times at breakfast this morning. Are we against, is the city against it for this bill? We need to know. And we have this resolution that says, yes, this bill preempts local control, so it's for it. So this resolution should be redrafted, so it doesn't even talk about the AD bill. It's just a resolution that says we're against the bill that preempts local. That's what, correct? That's what it is.
Yeah, that's what I'm suggesting, just in part because we will be having.
Don't be thought about this resolution.
Yeah, we actually have to, but what we're trying to do is give the mayor authority to say, we're not positioning, and not have to get into the nuances of what could be confusing things to others.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I really think we're talking about two separate things here. I don't think we should be changing the resolution. I think it's direct, get to the point. It doesn't like equivocate at all what we're talking about. Nobody answered it. It simply says we oppose this bill, and I think that was the intent when it was written. I think adding whereas describing the specifics of what we're opposed to is good, and it would enhance what we have here. But I don't think we should change it from a resolution that says the city of Wheat Ridge opposes this bill.
I think that's a question on the table. Yeah, he's suggesting that, you're suggesting that. What are we gonna do?
Okay, so Bob?
Yeah, I disagree. And I really need a resolution for a vote. We have to vote no on it, because the council is voting on this. But I won't vote on it the way it's been, like the way Councilwoman Hutchins suggested. And I don't think that we have to specifically call out the House bill number. It doesn't have to have a House bill number to have strength in the fact that we oppose the preemption of home rule. Does that happen with any bill number?
Everybody decides.
Things, right? 100% agree with Council Hoppy and Multi. If we do it for this bill, then we have to do it for the next bill, the next bill, and the next bill. But if we make one blanket statement, stop touching local control, we're good. So that's what I'm in favor of. So if we do it for the resolution that's more general, we just take it back.
Councilor,
So I understand where you're coming from, and I agree that a blanket statement would be beneficial, but as long as it directly opposes this bill, because I do think that not even just the one option, but this bill as a whole would preempt local control. I don't feel like piecemealing and taking it apart and thinking that this bill directly is necessary. Like I do, like any bill that exempts home rule municipality and local control and our power to, whether it be zoning, use, or whatever, like we're opposed and we always will be. And if we have to do it for every single bill, I think we should, because I think that gives more power. And I think CNL is asking us to oppose this bill directly so that they have more power in proposing it as a body.
Let's see if that will do next.
Thanks. So I don't disagree with having these discussions is actually valuable, but we're gonna be rarely at every study session having a conversation like this, and it maybe just turns into an efficiency of like, yeah, we have those, we understand because it's home rule, and then in that case, we're not actually talking about the nuances of those, and I don't understand what the power is of adding agenda items, because there are, I think, at least 4 more bills that are gonna be basically pretty similar to this, and unless we're actually committed to talking about the nuances of the bills and their implications and why we care about anything other than on the bill, then I don't know why we would do a blanket resolution saying, if at the end of the day, we're gonna just keep saying no to this one bill, then we're just doing a futile exercise, which means not going to use specific space. Which is why next year, let's have a conversation about the bills we care about and some of those nuances. But we're halfway through a session, and we're looking at it, like, there's a lot of them. And we're gonna be taking up a lot of time, and we already have doubled up meetings and study sessions are precious. So I'm just proposing to you that, this is a long discussion tonight, but I mean, if we are really looking at every study session and talking about this, it's talking about it. So I'm just proposing you take a like resolution, so our authority speaks for us on behalf of us at CNL and August doing their work and during all this, and that they just keep getting the no. But if we want to have specific conversations about like the ADU or transit-oriented communities or working reform or smart growth regulations, then let's bring it back. But if all we're going to do is just keep saying no because it's smart or the local control, then I just don't understand.
Councilor Wong.
Yeah, I agree with the mayor as far as, just make it simple, it's like, if we say we oppose, you know, it's a asking, why did you oppose this bill? It's like, well, because they took out the owner occupied, so for instance, it's, well, we're gonna whack them all out, and now we're gonna have something else, so you can't put this and take that out, and it's just gonna be this constant battle, and I think you just boil the whole thing down, what is the essence of what we're trying to do? Just being simple, and it's like, if this has anything to do with one municipality, we're gonna change it. It's enough, you just do that, and for everything, and I will have other discussions, but I think we should just have first, it's, this is the open talk, this is the new thing, and if you're gonna, if you do pressure, I know it's just a no. And I understand the optics of what happened for all things, trying to say, we're not against the use, we work really, really hard. I know, in the Councilman Roseman, it says, years they across the finish line. And that's all time, and that's all time in our study session that we need to talk about those types of issues. And so I'm very much in support of what you said. We just take it at a higher level and it's up. We're not going to negotiate it. It's reaction. It's enough.
So this will just be for all, is that strong enough language? You can use with like a statement like that, where would it get our point across of any of these bills that we're going to be
Yes, it was communicated to, legislators, that was the discussion here. It's, the council is very firm on supporting home rule and opposing legislation and advising the role. There was communicated, basically the mayor through the policy committee, CML, saying, yes, our council took this position, and this position, this revised resolution applies to this bill. And this bill that comes along, yes, this resolution will applies also to this bill. And it would be making notes in case that passes to generalize it. CML would be able to, what they would do, I mean, what they would do would be to put readers in the proposed 1152, the proposed 1152 call, because they've got to put you somewhere. You know, in other words, if you don't want them putting you in
you can't really, do either of these resolutions. It's not pointless. Because they want to be able to say to the legislature, these are the cities that oppose this. So be ready for that, because when you do an action call out to the legislators, they're hearing things that are ready before. They represent the legislators, these are the communities that oppose this. Even with a generalized resolution, they would keep the opposed call. And you have to be ready for that. If you weren't ready for that, then it seems to me that either resolution probably pass.
Well, and the road really hits the road 2 weeks from tonight, when we hopefully will have our representatives, our senator, our representative here in the hall, and we can tell them what we think of these bills that free and local control. And we have not done that in the past. We sit here like we have dinner, sort of an candy, government affairs evening, maybe we feel better that way, but, they really put sort of cranked it up last year with 216. Council Rock.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't think that the issues that would be in the opposed column, I think it's that we don't necessarily want to look like we're opposing EUs in general. And so I think that we're opposing affordable housing. Right? So I think that the way Councilman has described it, I think that's a good way to do it. And then I also want to ask, will we be getting to know this year? Please, it's a fair for time. Well, I have to, because you are already on that.
So now we're not going there.
I'm gonna be hungry, you don't want me to be hungry.
I love it, we all have snacks in front of us. Right? Every morning I have. I really, this is a really valuable conversation and I think having, I actually think it's almost stronger for us to just have a resolution and heard the rule. Because then we can actually say that research is actually a position across the board. Because otherwise it's just every little thing is like an version on that, like maybe we can press this way or we do this and then it became and we just normalize. And so I would like to, well, Mayor, it's your proposal.
Well, we only have another minute before we're going to take a break. So do we have a consensus to have staff bring forward another resolution at our next meeting, opposing the legislature's attempts to create political control as a general matter?
Does that mean that this resolution is, as it stands now?
We're looking for I guess we're going for a substitute resolution.
But if it passes, we'll have to communicate it, that the city is for the reentry.
All right, we have consensus. Councilor, you guys have
We'll do a general little resolution.
I can't help as we go on.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Terrific. So, we're going to go to staff to July 1. And now we can go to elected officials, about 30 seconds. Any elected officials reports? Councilor Hall.
30 seconds.
Well, that's for everybody.
Thank you.
So, good.
So this week, I just want to say, I went to Little Pete's. You can see from Wadsworth, that place was busy. It's like a big billboard of what it is now, with the patio. And not only that, it's drawn people from all over that are really noticeable into the Queen City Collective Coffee, and they said it very clearly that would become a catalyst now for that whole development. And so if you see, when you drive down Wadsworth, you see Little Pete's, you're like, this looks interesting, you stop it, you're going to the other businesses. It's great to be rich. Still looking a little slow, but the views, I don't think I could have picked a better place to sit on a patio, and it's covered. It's a great place. It's back here, so yeah, try to check it
should have 2 or 3 other updates.
Good enough. Your coaching sites?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Love the Gold Scotia developments. I just wanted to announce, Council Weaver and I are meeting on March 3rd. It's at the center at 9 a.m. and Lindsay Reinhardt from the Medical Center and also Greg Moss and a few others will be there to present on what's happening. There's got some stuff going on. So that's it.
Great. Other elected officials? Council Wilson?
Real quick, I just wanted to thank Sam, when we went to the opening of Illegal Pete's, noticed that the bike racks were placed such that if someone parked their bike on the bike rack, they would be walking to ADA access. And I reached out to staff, and staff reached out to the developers, and they said that they would rectify it. And I just think that that is just what makes Blue Bridge great, is that we have great relationships with people who pass on us, and we work well with the community. So I'm looking forward to getting back to Little Pete's, because it is a good club, so.
Hopefully they weren't in around that.
They were
They bolted down.
crazy.
Well, bolted down is easier than jackhammer. Council Larson?
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to also announce that in District 4, Councilmember Bozeman and I will be conducting a district meeting on April 2nd at Anderson Park in the Anderson Building. And we will have a couple of topics as well.
Well,
6
6
p.m.
p.m.
I'm not going to change when I have public comment. So we have coffee with the mayor next, Monday, next Saturday morning at 9 o'clock. So get there, get some coffee, get there early enough, we can have some of the cookies and salami before the crowd consumes the consumables.
Salami cookies.
Anything else? Well, we will not be here next week. Many of our members are traveling out of state, so we hope that you all have a very safe travels there and back, and be very productive with our federal delegation in the United States. Can I say one more? You can say, you know.
Good news, got an email today, our 2 million notes for affordable housing, congressional director funding is still in budget. And hoping that house is gonna go on next week. So, your trust.
More than hope,
Yes.
rather than a promise.
Yes.
All right, there's no more business to come before the council. Have a good week. See you in 2 weeks. Thank you.